Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this People Analytics training. It's an honor to have you all here, and I want you all to please sit tight and have an immersive experience in this training. Please, if you can hear me clearly and you can see me, can you please do a thumbs up? Right, so that I know that I'm audible and you all can see me. Oh, interesting. Okay, all right. That's great. Okay, so we have right now we have 64 attendees. Okay, so let's just dive right in. So, ladies and gentlemen, all right, data is now a strategic asset for many organizations. All right, data has moved from that thing that we just store and keep in Excel files or in databases or in our applications. So what we use to actively drive decision making in organizations, right? And organizations that have looked to use data, all right, for decision making have been proven to have a better return on investment, a higher profit margin, have been known to do better revenues than their counterparts who simply ignore data. Okay, and according to a research by PwC, they revealed that data-driven organizations can outperform their competitors by as much as 6% in profitability and 5% in productivity. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so the whole focus of why we're here today is why data, all right, is now a strategic asset for many organizations, all right, and how we can use this for making strategic decisions. Okay, having said that, it's nice to know that collecting and storing data is not just enough. If we talk about data analytics, the question or the response we get from most people is that, of course, we are a data-driven organization. I mean, we can drop it in the chat. Do you think that your organization is data-driven? I mean, I would love to see some responses in the chat. So the question is your organization data-driven, right? Is your organization, before I even explain what being data-driven means, all right, or means, right? Let's just, drop our comments in the chat. Do you believe that your decision or decision making in your organization is being driven by data? There's a comment here that says, I can't hear, please. If you can hear me, please, I want you to give a thumbs up. If you can hear me, I want to give a thumbs up. Okay, yes, we can hear me. So Motayo, you may want to look at your device. Okay, so the question is your organization data driven? I want you to drop comments in the chat. Okay, so while we're doing that, I want you to know that collecting and storing data is not just enough. All right, HR data must be analyzed, must be tortured to reveal insights and solve business problems. Okay, collecting and storing data doesn't mean your organization is data driven. I'm sorry that I have to be the one to say that. Okay, being a data driven organization simply means that when any decision needs to be made in your organization, you turn to data. Okay, not gut feeling, not your experience, not what you feel, right? Not feel good analytics, right? It simply means that you turn to data to make informed decision. Okay, now we are going to be looking at some very, very interesting stats in the next slide. Okay, so I'm seeing some very interesting responses here. So Luanishala says not yet, all right. And Officer says, yes, our organization is data-driven. I love that, okay. Tino Ade says, no, our organization is not data-driven yet. Jamil says, yes, ours is data-driven. I'm saying not yet. Someone says, yes, our organization is data-driven, okay. That is very interesting take, all right. So the whole point, I mean, by the end of this training, we're looking at making everyone, even if your organization is not data-driven yet, we want to set you on a path where you can use data strategically, all right, in your organization. Okay, let's move on. So I want us to look at these interesting stats together. It will set the tone for the conversation that we are trying to have today. Did you know that 58% of businesses that rely on data management tools to make decisions, businesses that rely on data management tools to make decisions are 58 times more likely to beat their revenue goals than non-data driven companies. This is according to a research by Forrester. Okay, so if you're looking to beat, your revenue goals and your target that you have set for your company, using data and analytics will set you on the right path by more than 58%. That is one. We have some other interesting stats lined up. Okay, let's look at the second one. Do you know that data-driven organizations are 162% more likely to significantly surpass revenue goals than, of course, their counterpart? This is also according to a research by Forrester. 57% of companies based at least, all right, half of their regular business decision on gut feelings and experience rather than data and information. This is according to a research by BARC. Okay, so it's established, right, that 57% of companies based their regular business decision making on gut feeling rather than data. Okay, and this clearly aligns to the comment by Clinton Peters, who said that my company is 50% data driven. So maybe you're close to this stat. However, do you also know that only 31% of companies that only 31% of companies have significantly restructured their operations to incorporate data, which means that to a very large extent, all right, we still depend on our experience, on our intuition, on our gut feeling to make decisions. Now, someone may say, okay, all of this doesn't really concern me. I'm concerned about HR. Okay, now let's look at very interesting stat about HR. 83% of HR leaders agree that all people decisions should be made on data and analytics. This is according to a research by Sage. Very interesting. That is the no-brainer, right? So 83% of HR leaders agree that HR leaders, or 83% of HR leaders agree that all people decisions, right, should be made based on data analytics. So you think that if 83% of people, of HR leaders can come together and agree, that's very interesting, okay? But however, look at this. However, only 37% of this same HR leaders or HR organization use data to actually solve people management problems. So we all agree that data will help us solve problems, or we all agree that data should be the focus or should be what we turn to when we need to make people decisions. However, only 37% agree or are using data to solve people management tools or people management problems. So, and now this is trigger alert. My next slide. This is a quote from Adam Hill. He happens to be the executive vice president of Sage People. And listen to what he said. He said, we've already seen sales and marketing teams go through a data science transformation over the last decade, right? With great success, using insights to better understand and engage with their customer. He said, now it's critical HR follows suit and embrace people science to better understand their people. What this says, or what we're meant to understand by this is other business units made significant advancements in using data for informed decision making. However, the HR, which of course is supposed to be the strategic arm of the organization, is still lagging behind when it comes to using data for decision making. And this we have demonstrated in the last few slides that I shared. And now this is why Reliance Infosystems thought to put this 6 weeks people's analytics training together to equip us, all right, with the needed skills and the tools that we need to start using data for informed decision making. Okay. Now, I've been speaking for the last 13 minutes about why people's analytics is so essential and why Reliance Infosystems thought it wise, all right, to help organizations, especially HR professionals, to be able to leverage data for decision making in their organization. Now, before we dive right in, it's nice for me to introduce who exactly is Reliance Infosystems and what do we do. Okay, Reliance Infosystems is a leading global ICT organization. All right, our mission at Reliance is to empower our clients to embrace and leverage digital technologies and strategies, and of course, innovation to drive growth, okay, enhance their efficiency, and also to foster business success, okay? So Reliance Infosystems is a leading global ICT organization. We help our customers on their digital transformation journey, okay? We propel our clients into the future by harnessing the power of digital technologies and help them achieve success in the rapidly evolving digital world. Okay, now the numbers speaks for themselves. Reliance Infosystems is partners with Microsoft, with Sophos, as well as other leading OEMs, technology OEMs around the world. We have 6 solutions designations, which are infrastructure, data and AI, digital and app innovation, modern work, security, and of course, business applications. And in the last few years, we have serviced over 1,500 customers, all right? And we've handheld them and helped them on their digital transformation drive, whether it is on infrastructure, whether it's on data and AI, whether it's on digital and app innovation, whether it's on modern work, whether it's in security or business application. And one of such innovation is this training we're having today, which is on data and AI. We want to help you to utilize data, all right, to move, all right, both on a personal level in your career as well as in your organization, okay? Reliance Infosystems has Microsoft Solution Partner Designation or Advanced Specialization in Infra and Database Management, in Modernization and Web Application, in DevOps, in Cloud Security, Identity Management, and so on and so forth. Again, not to brag, we are 3 times Microsoft Partner of the Year, all right? And that is something that is very interesting, which means that Microsoft trusts us, okay, to go to customers and clients and help them transform digitally, leveraging on Microsoft technology. And we've generated over $1.3 million in ACR revenue. Now, let's move on, okay? We have 3 pillars in Reliance Infosystems. One of them is digital business transformation. All right, so we assist businesses to transform digitally We help them lower their costs, help them improve their efficiency, and of course, maximize their productivity, okay? And we do this by helping them achieve more accurate, better, and quicker results that translate into higher return than, of course, physical equivalences. And some of the solutions we have on this are enterprise storage, identity and access management, enterprise voice and collaboration, cloud hosting solution, intelligent building solution, data center modernization, which of course we are going to talk about in the course of this training, amongst others. Our second pillar is operational excellence. So here we identify operational excellence to be the way that people, data, and systems, and also processes are consecutively interlaced to create an automated production process, okay? Some of the solutions we have under this pillar are modern ERP solutions, all right? Customer engagement solutions, identity integration and simplification, robotic process automation, and business intelligence, okay? Business intelligence also happen to be under one of the core strategic decisions we'll be having over the course of this 6 weeks training. Okay, let's move to the third and final pillar, which is protection assurance. So we have a portfolio of protection assurance offerings, right, that help organizations focus on their core operations by allowing them to concentrate resources or resource deployment on production and distribution of their products and services. Some of the solutions we have under this pillar are gateway protection, endpoint protection, vulnerability assessment, governance and compliance, advanced threat protection, among others. Okay, that is Reliance Infosystems. And of course, they are the facilitators or they are the organizers of this training, which means that in the course of this training, if you have any business problem that revolve around any of these pillars or that revolve around any of the things we are talking about in the course of this training, whether it's in data and AI, whether it's in security, whether it's in identity and access management, whether it's in governance and compliance, you are free to schedule a call with our experts at Reliance Infosystems, and we will absolutely be happy to jump on a call with you and help you solve your problem. Okay, that's about Reliance Infosystems. Let's now talk about the instructor or the facilitator, or instructor for this training. My name is Fatai Sani. I happen to be the manager for data strategy and business intelligence here in Reliance Infosystems. I am a Microsoft certified trainer, which means that I'm certified, of course, by Microsoft to train organizations on data and, of course, digital technologies. I also happen to be a Microsoft certified data analyst, which means that, of course, I have certification from Microsoft to help organizations solve their data problems. Okay, I have 8 years of experience helping businesses leveraging data to make better decisions. Okay, I'm a consultant on analytics, on data-driven strategy to several organizations. And of course, the organization can also be one of these. I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, and a thought leader within the data ecosystem. All right, so feel free to connect with Reliance Infosystems on LinkedIn, and feel free to also connect with me on LinkedIn at Fatai Sani. Now, why did I go through introducing Reliance Infosystems and introducing myself? It is to make you understand that you have professionals we are professionals and we are well equipped to deliver this training to you. And at no cost. I think we deserve a round of applause. So please, if you can do thumbs up, an applause, a clap or something, that will be really remarkable. Now, let's quickly lay some expectations for this training before we proceed. This HR analytics course is suitable for who should be in this training. It's suitable for HR professionals, for business executives that are interested in extracting insight from people data and making informed decisions. Okay, so it is strictly for HR professionals or people who are interested in HR analytics, or you are a C-level executives or business executive that are interested or that are willing to leverage data to make better decisions in people. Okay. Now, all references and case studies and materials that we are going to be using in this course are going to be referencing the HR domain. So if you are not maybe a stakeholder, whether in analytics or in human resource management, this course may not be suitable for you. This course is very, very beginner friendly. And over the course of the next 6 weeks, we are going to explore fundamental to intermediate concepts in HR analytics. However, advanced concepts. So if you're maybe above the intermediate level and you're looking for more advanced training on analytics, this course may not be for you, okay? So we're not going to be covering advanced concepts like predictive analytics or big data analytics and so on and so forth. That will not be covered in this course, okay? All participants will be expected to complete 2 project-based case studies, 1 project in Excel and 1 in Power BI respectively over the course of these 6 weeks. So that is also one of the expectations. And at the end of these trainings, participants are expected to be able to, of course, describe the types of HR analytics, its applications. They have to be able to, they will be able to understand analytics tools. What tools can we use for various HR analytics projects? They have to understand the different HR metrics and where they apply, okay? And also they will be able to analyze HR data and build simple interactive dashboard. That is very interesting. I'm sure you would agree. Okay, now let's go to we have some ground rules. Okay, all mics are muted by default. Again, this is to avoid any interruptions. All questions, comments should be dropped in the chat room, and myself as well as my colleagues will be more than happy to answer this question. Okay, so you have to use the chat feature for all questions and concerns that you may have. Okay, by being in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. This call is recorded and recording will be shared. Okay, so please be respectful to everyone in the chat or to your facilitator, right? Because I mean, you have to be nice to me. Okay, but be respectful to everyone. And please use polite language when talking to others, okay? Now, here's the thing. I've seen a question in the chat. All sessions will be recorded. We are going to be recording all the sessions for the entire 6 weeks. However, the recordings of these sessions will not be available until the end of the 6th week, okay? I'll take that again. All sessions are being recorded. And the recordings will be shared. However, you will not get the recording till the end of the 6th week. And the reason for that is we want you to have an immersive experience. Go through each and every bit of the training. If you need to rewatch or revisit the recording, it's going to be available after, all right? So that people don't look forward to the recording and not pay attention in class, okay? Now, this is a certificate course. You're going to be getting a certificate at the end of this training. However, there's a caveat. For you to get a certificate, you need to meet 65% of attendance, which means that you need to attend a minimum of 4 out of 6 classes. Okay. So if you attend anything less than 4 classes from this 6, of course, you will not be getting a certificate. And of course, we are the analytics experts. So we know if we know people in attendance and people who aren't in attendance. Okay. Now, for organizations who have specific problems, so if you have data problems or you have specific things you want to discuss that is organization specific and you don't want to throw it open in the chat, okay, you're free to schedule a follow-up session, a free 30-minute session with our experts where we go or we dissect I don't want to say your problem, right? But I mean, the organization problem, okay? And we're able to provide solution and even come in as partners to help you execute, all right? Whether you're looking to set up a data center, you're looking to unify your data, you are looking to anything, or it could be in security, it could be identity and access management, and so on and so forth. Okay, you're free to schedule a session. However, this is not for personal, maybe data problem. This is specific for organizations that need help, right? Whether in their unit, in their department, or generally across organization wide. Okay, that is ground rules. I see a comment in the sessions here. I would like to ask if we can have a timetable for training in terms of days and time, just to be able to manage our time for the 6 weeks. Yes, the same way you got invites for this session, invites will be sent out possibly with a calendar in a series to block out the next 6 weeks. However, all training will happen same time, same day for the next 6 weeks. So it's going to be Wednesday, 11 a.m. West African time, okay? Wednesday, 11 a.m. West African time for the next 6 weeks, okay? You're free to block your calendar yourself, or you wait for a mail from us with the revised calendar invites, okay? All right, now what are the prerequisites to this session? Okay, you have to understand basic, you have to have basic knowledge of HR concepts and terminologies. This session is not designed to teach you about HR concept or HR terminologies. No, you have to have some previous knowledge, and assumptions will be made that this is already a knowledge. All right, so specific definitions and references will not be given to concepts and terminologies mentioned within the HR sphere. Okay, you must have basic understanding of ML Excel functions. You don't have to be an Excel expert. Just things around sum, count, average, just basic, and you can find your way around the Excel interface. Okay, you must have the ability to commit a minimum of 2 hours class training, all right, and then 2 hours personal practice time for the next 6 weeks. Okay, that's a prerequisite. So if you feel like that is something you should be able to do, right, then you should. That is a prerequisite, of course. You must have at least a PC with a minimum of 4 gig RAM and 250 gig disk storage, because we are going to be installing some applications which we are going to talk about. And of course, if you want the optimal performance from these applications, then you need to have the minimum base system. And thankfully, a lot of the systems we have these days should really satisfy this minimum requirement. However, if you happen to have maybe a very old PC, you may look to maybe get a temporary one for the purpose of this class, just so that you can have a good experience. Also, if you're a Mac user, we are going to be installing an application called Power BI, and unfortunately, Power BI does not work on Mac, on the Mac operating system. Excuse me. So you may look to maybe do a Windows partition, or maybe get a temporary window system, okay? And then finally, your PC, of course, must be pre-installed with Microsoft Excel, all right, on Power BI. However, if you don't have Power BI installed, that is not a problem. Just know that you will have to install Power BI at some point during this training. So let me get back to some of the questions in here. Someone said, are we allowed to invite someone for the classes? If yes, when do they start? I think I answered that already. All classes are 11 a.m. 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. West African time. However, if you invite someone that is not on that did not pre-register, they will not get a certificate. They may be able to participate, but they will not get a certificate. What you should do for them instead is to send them the registration link, okay? Let them register, they get a link to join the training. So this class is open for all. However, registration is compulsory if you want to get a certificate from this session, okay? So if you have the link that you registered with, kindly forward it to them. let them register, and then they can be a part of the training. But however, if you just send them the meeting link, know that they may not be able to get any certificate because we will not be able to capture their details properly. Again, analytics. All right, let's dive right in. So what is our agenda for the next 6 weeks? We're going to be talking about introduction to HR analytics. We're going to go on a journey of what exactly is HR analytics or people analytics. Those phrases are used interchangeably. Okay, what exactly is HR analytics? When do we use it? When does it apply? And so on and so forth. And then we'll be talking about the types of analytics. Okay, we'll dive into what are the different types of analytics and when should we use them. Excuse me. Number 3, we're going to be talking about HR metrics, all right, or people metrics. What are the important metrics that need to be measured, all right, to measure the efficiency of HR initiatives or people initiatives, okay? Number 4, we're going to be talking about the data analytics process. What exactly are the process from start to finish that you need to follow to embark or to have a successful analytics project, okay? We're going to also be talking about sources of HR data. Where exactly can we find HR data, whether in your organization or outside the organization? Some of these data or some of these sources or systems, you already have them, all right? But how could we extract data from these sources, all right, for the purpose of making decisions, okay? So we're going to be talking about that. We're now going to be talking about data analytics tools. What tools should we use for data analytics? When does each one apply and when can we use them? Number 7, we're going to be talking about data governance, data privacy, ethical concerns in managing people data, because I mean, as HR professionals, confidentiality should be key. Okay, so we're going to be talking about some of these principles. Some of them we are aware of, some of them we may not be aware of. Okay, and then we're going to be spotlighting this. And then finally, we're going to be having a business case study. So we're going to be working on projects, depending on how quick we can move, 2 projects, okay, before the end of the 6 weeks program, okay? So we're going to have real HR case studies, and we're going to be providing solution to those case studies, and we're going to be working on, of course, live projects. I mentioned one in Excel, okay, and one in Power BI. All right, okay, I guess now is the time to start. If there are any questions so far, I'm sure we can get them. Some say we will be getting invites for the next few weeks, or should we join using the same link? Of course, I think I communicated that. This link should still work. However, wait for further communication from us on this. That should be communicated. Now, let's go into introduction to data analytics. Before we even get to people analytics, what exactly is data analytics? And a very simple definition without using any buzzword is data analytics is simply the science of analyzing raw data to draw out meaningful and actionable insights. Simply, data analytics is the science of analyzing raw data to draw out meaningful and actionable insights. And being a data-driven company means that you are leveraging on data analytics techniques, all right, to analyze your data, all right. You are drawing out meaningful and actionable insights, and you are acting. That is what a data-driven company means. Data analytics is on its own. Being data-driven is on its own. The other time I'm asked a question around, is your organization data-driven? There are 3 broad categories of company when it comes to using data. There are some people, some organizations that don't just care, okay? They don't care. Decisions are made based on intuition. Decisions are made based on gut feeling. Decisions are made based on feel-good analytics, okay? They don't care about data, all right? And these organizations are at the bottom, all right? Most times, when you see all the top performing companies in the world, just name one, right? And you would see that data is in play, all right, in their core business strategy. We'll be mentioning some of these companies in reference over the course of our training, okay? So there are companies that don't care about data. Now, there's a second category of organization. They collect data, all right, which I want to believe a lot of organizations fall, okay? These companies collect data. It's not that they don't. You have an HIRS solution. You have data in Excel. You have data. You have a mountain of Excel files in your company. All right. You have the flat files and everything. But that is just it. They collect the data, but this data is not used for anything strategic. Maybe basic information to reference to say, oh, what is the salary of so and so? You go back, oh, it's in the record. We have data. You go back, check it. But that is not insights. That is not meaningful, actionable insights. We are not using the data for anything. Data is treated like a cost center. Okay, that's why when IT professionals come out to say, oh, we want to increase the capacity of our servers, all right, people don't see the value. Organizations don't see the value. They just feel like this, you're just sucking in money and you're not churning out any value. And that's because those type of organizations still treat data as a cost center. How do you know that you fall into this data, this second category? Is that you have lots of data. I mean, you have mostly Excel files. They are everywhere. Everybody have data scattered in one Excel. Now, what that introduces is what they call the many versions of truth. There's no single unified, there's no single source of truth in your data. So this person analyzes data, send it or present it in the meeting, and this data, the HR head is providing for maybe for salary or for the people in the organization, people that have resigned, is different from the one in the finance department, because somewhere, somehow, somebody forgot to update one list, or somebody deleted a column, or somebody forgot to do one thing once. So you have data scattered. So this data is not meaningful in itself. And then the third category of organization, these are data-driven companies, which means that any decision they need to make, all right, they fall back to their data. Okay, now let's look at the visual we have on the board. So we have raw data on the right. So this raw data could be coming from any of the different sources. This raw data should be coming from Excel files, could be coming from databases, could be coming from PDF, just name it, HIRS systems, anything. Now, the process of converting those raw data, all right, transforming this data, cleaning it, analyzing it, and trying to make sense of it to achieve the visual we have on the right, to extract insights. That is the data analytics process. That is data analytics in a nutshell, all right? Simple. Now, let's go to the next slide. Now, we understand what data analytics is, all right? What then is people analytics? When you combine data analytics techniques with people data, or HR data in this case, what you have is people analytics, okay? So very simply, before we even get into complex definitions, before we get into talking about what people analytics is, it's very simple. You are using data analytics techniques on people data, which means that a data analyst that has domain knowledge of HR can call himself a people analyst, okay? So if you are an HR professional, that's one, you have the domain knowledge. What you need to do HR analytics is the knowledge of data analytics. I hope that is clear. If that is clear, please let me see a thumbs up, all right? The second group of people are, you are a data analyst, but you want to perform people analytics. You cannot be using broad data analytics concept in people analytics. You need to get what? You need to get domain knowledge of HR management or human resource management for you to say, I can perform people analytics. It's like healthcare and data analytics, okay? You may be a data analyst, but you don't have domain knowledge of the healthcare space. You are not going to just see healthcare data and just throw it on a spreadsheet and start analyzing because, oh, you know Excel, or, oh, I know Power BI. You need to get the domain knowledge, all right, of healthcare before you can say, okay, I want to analyze healthcare data, all right? The same thing applies to what we're talking about here. We have HRMs on the call, about 154 of them right now, okay? And what we just need to carry out people analytics is you already have the domain knowledge. You just need the analytic skills, okay? So you have the domain knowledge, I have the analytic skills. So we join it together, and at the end of this, we are going to produce people analysts or HR analysts at the end of the 6 weeks, okay? Let's go ahead. Now, let's look at some interesting definition of what people analytics is. Okay, so people analytics is also referred to HR analytics, is also referred to workforce analytics, or you can also call it talent analytics. All of these things mean the same thing. Okay, whether you call it people analytics, whether you call it HR analytics, whether you call it workforce analytics, whether you call it talent analytics, all right, you're talking about the same thing, okay? And this involves gathering and analyzing and reporting on HR data or on people data, okay? So it enables your organization to measure the impact of a range of HR metrics on the overall business performance, and of course, to make the data-driven decisions, okay? Let me take that again. It enables your organization to measure the impact of a range of HR metrics. So you have HR metrics on overall business performance. That is what I want us to underline, all right? HR analytics is not in isolation, okay? You're not analyzing HR data for the purpose of analyzing it. A lot of people, I'll get to it in the next few slides. We're analyzing late coming, for instance, or I don't know what we call it, people coming late to the office. I mean, for most offices, I don't know, I think it should have stopped now. I mean, remote work is here, but you have companies where people come in the morning, they be signing and sign out, all right? Now, the next thing you need to ask yourself before you analyze that kind of data, or before you even collect that kind of data, all right, is the overall company objective tied to people coming early to work, or tied to people, the number of hours spent at work? Or to rephrase that, all right, is there any correlation between productivity, all right, and the time employees come to work? Okay, now, the reason I'm saying this is, I'm not saying it's a bad metric to measure. What I'm saying is it a significant, does it have any impact on the business performance? Is it a business metric to measure? Okay. So I said it enables your organization to measure the impact of a range of HR metrics on overall business performance and make decisions based on data. So in other words, HR analytics is a data-driven approach towards human resource management. All right? Okay. Moving on. Let's now look at some definitions by, we'll look at two definitions by Forbes and another definition by AIHR. Okay. So Forbes says, HR analytics is the gathering, is the analyzing and reporting of data that surrounds the management of human resources. Okay, they said is the analyzing or is the gathering, sorry. So three things are involved. You need to gather the data, you need to analyze the data, and you need to report on the data. Okay. Someone said my slide is not moving. So I want you to give a thumbs up if you can see the slide that says definition of HR analytics. Okay. Still showing page 12. Abiodun, please check your internet. I'm currently on slide 20, and I'm on slide that says definition of HR analytics. And you can see from the thumbs up that a lot of people can see that. Another person said my voice is faint. So please, if you can hear me clearly, can you please also give another thumbs up? Okay, very good. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue with what we're talking about. HR analytics, all right, is okay. Also, one final thumbs up, please. Can you see me? If you can see my video, please, another thumbs up, please. Let me be sure. Okay, good, good, good. Thank you, thank you. All right, thank you. So HR analytics is the gathering, is the analyzing, and reporting. So three things in one. It's a trinity, right? So you have to gather the data, you have to analyze the data and report on the data that surrounds the management of human resources, okay? It is a method of gathering a better understanding of people within an organization and how well the human resource team is performing, okay? The analysis of this data can be a huge help to give it an organization the right direction to move. That is also what we're going to be talking about in this course. Data analytics is not just hindsight reporting. Oh, we did this last year. We did this last month. We did this last quarter. Can we use the data that we have collected? Can it help us forecast or spotlight the direction to move, okay, going forward? There is no, okay, we'll get them. Okay, so the analysis of this data can be huge help to give an organization the right direction to move forward in order to maximize maybe payroll benefits and its ability to hire and keep employees and more. That is how Forbes defined HR analytics. Let's look at another one so that we balance it. Okay, so AIHR said, HR analytics also refer to people analytics. We mentioned that. Also refer to workforce analytics and of course talent analytics, involve gathering together and analyzing and of course reporting HR data. That's exactly what Forbes said. Okay. So it enables your organization to measure the impact of a range of HR metrics on overall business performance and make decisions based on data. So in other words, HR analytics is a data-driven approach to human resource management. That is the definition we used the other time. Now, I mentioned something. I said HR analytics, all right, should not be in isolation. Okay, HR analytics should not be in isolation. All right, the best HR analytics endeavors are the ones that are tied or are the ones that aligns with organizational goals. Okay, the best HR analytics endeavors are the ones that align with organization goals. And what are the organization goals? Organizations are in the business of making money, which is to maximize their revenue. Okay. Organizations want to minimize their costs, okay? And organizations want to optimize their processes, all right? Which means that HR analytics endeavors, all right, should be tied into one of these strategic pillars, okay? There are also other things like maybe optimize operations. There are other things around improving productivity. If you look at it very well, they are going to be tied into one of these pillars, okay? You want to make more money, which is the total, the overall goal of why you're in business, unless you're an NGO, of course. You want to maximize your revenue, you want to minimize your costs, and you want to optimize your business process, okay? Now, HR analytics endeavors must be tied or must align with one of these goals. Okay, now someone may ask me, how does HR analytics help me or help an organization to maximize revenue? We are not a production team, or we are not the ones that bring in the money. We are not the one that bring in the sales, right? But you're the one that employ the people or to manage the people who bring in the money. So which means that meeting your quarterly targets or your sales targets, or whatever target or your yearly target, starts with hiring the right people. Okay, it starts with hiring, bringing the right talent. Okay, I think they said we call it talent these days. Okay, comes with hiring the right talent into the organization. Okay, it starts from there. Okay, and how do we hire the right talent? Is we study the patterns of what are some of the indicators that show that this person is a right talent or is fit to bring about the revenue that we want to maximize. Okay, that's very simple. How do we minimize costs, or how do we tie HR endeavors into minimizing costs? This is, very simple, no brainer. All right, we already know where each of the endeavors. All right, how do we optimize a certain process? So I'm going to take optimizing process and minimizing cost as one. Okay, how do you optimize say productivity? Okay, so let's say you work in manufacturing, for example, and HR must be able to HR analytics should help us to plan, all right, that we don't have more than the talent required. I wanted to say staff, but let me use the reigning word. All right, we have the right talent in place, and we have the right number. We have the right talent and the right number of talent. We don't have 20 people where we need 10 people. We don't have 10 where we need 20 people. If we have 20 where we need 10 people, guess what happens to your cost, the overall business goal for the year? You're going to make more money, all right, but of course, you're going to drive up your costs, okay? And also, finally, HR analytics should help us optimize our process. Now, when we get to metrics that matter, we're going to be dissecting what are some of the metrics that we need to be measuring. All right, we have about them in like 16 different categories. I didn't say 16 metrics. I said in 16 different categories that have their own metrics under each category. And we're going to be talking about all of them, all right? Which means that some data point, one of the critical questions we need to take away, or one of the key takeaways we need to go with from this training is the data we are collecting or the data we are analyzing, or how is it aligning, or how does it tie with the overall business goal? Are we collecting feel-good metrics, all right, that have no business, all right, with an organization goal? So the very first question you need to ask yourself, if you need to collect a particular data, all right, or you need to analyze a data, is why are we collecting this data? And what is the end goal? All right. Otherwise, it brings us back to the question we mentioned at first, that we're collecting data that we're not using, or that does not have any impact on the overall goal of the company. And an example of that I mentioned is late coming to work. That unfortunately, that's only so we live in a remote or we are in a remote workforce right now, or a hybrid workforce, where people now have flexibility, okay, of working maybe within a certain time. What impact does coming in 5 minutes or 10 minutes late into the office, what impact does it have on productivity? I'm not saying it doesn't. What I'm saying is that, does it for your own company? Maybe you're in manufacturing, of course, you make the argument to say, oh, people need to, or you're in business that run shift, okay, you can make a case, okay? People need to leave, and these people need to be here when they leave, all right? But ask yourself very, very sincerely, what impact is a 5 minutes, or why are we collecting this data at all? That's something we need to take away, okay? Now, the point of this is what impact, okay, does this make to the overall business goal, okay? Let's go to the next slide. Now, what is the role of HR analytics in strategic decision making? Okay, what is the role of HR analytics in strategic decision making? Oluwasegun has a comment in the, he said 5-minute delay for 20 working days is a total of 100 minutes lost in a month. Very beautiful. Okay, he ran the numbers and he saw that if we lose 100 minutes in a month, what does it translate to in terms of cost to the business? Does it have a cost to the business? Okay, if I come 5 minutes late and I stay 2 hours after because of Lagos traffic, if I stay, okay, for those who are not in Lagos, but because of traffic in the country, okay, so if I come in 5 minutes late and I stay 2 hours after waiting for traffic to pass before I go home, does it still mean the same thing? Okay, so what I'm saying is that, is there a cost to the business if we collect this data, if we analyze it? Does it tie into any of the current business goals? All right, it's not a yes or it's not a no answer, and I'm not making any argument for this. I'm just saying that if we need to collect that data, we need to know what is the bottom line, what is the end goal, and how does it tie? Can we tie this to the overall business objective? Does it have a direct impact? Okay. Now, let's look at the role of HR analytics in strategic decision making. Number one is talent acquisition. Okay. HR analytics help us to optimize the hiring process by analyzing historical data to identify perhaps the most successful recruitment channels. Okay, so you know what? We're going to do drop a poll now in the chat. And the question I want to ask is based on our last chart, okay? Or based on our last slide, okay? One of the following is not an organizational goal that is not an organizational goal, okay? Is it to minimize cost? Is it to maximize revenue? Is it to expand our employee hobbies? Or is it to optimize our process? Which of the following is not an organization? Which of the following is not a goal that an organization is set to achieve? Okay, I'm seeing 12 wrong answers already. Or are they wrong? Okay, so to expand the employee office. Okay, very good. Okay, I'm seeing 23 responses already. Okay, so which of the following is not an organizational goal? Okay, okay, interesting. Okay, please keep the responses coming. Keep the responses coming. Okay, now let's talk about the role of HR analytics in strategic decision making. So I said number one is talent acquisition. So HR analytics can optimize the hiring process by analyzing historical data to identify the most successful recruitment channels, and of course, leading to more informed decision on where to allocate resources. Talent acquisition is one of the focus, all right, of HR analytics, or one of the roles that HR analytics play in strategic decision making. Talent acquisition. How do we optimize? So, for example, talent acquisition metrics, we're looking at recruiting channels. Which of our recruiting channels is more, will I say, which of our channels do we get the best or the right talent? All right. This is something that we can only discover with analytics. There's also the time to fill analytics, okay? How long does it take to hire the right talent? Because if you don't plan for this and if you don't study the right data or analyze and collect the right data, you're always going to have a problem, okay? When it comes to managing talent, exit, and of course, filling that position back. We're looking at hiring volume, okay, and vacancies, all right? We're looking at quality of candidates, all right? All of these are talent acquisition metrics, all right? Quality of hire, okay? We're looking at new hire performance. We're looking at our retention. We're looking at speed to competencies, all right? All of these are different metrics, all right, that HR professionals or HR analytics tends to help us answer when it comes to talent acquisition. The overall principle about managing our talent with data is very, very critical. And we are going to be looking at this in detail when we get to metrics or HR metrics and when we are doing our business case studies as well. So please ensure to join subsequent sessions. Okay, let's look at workforce planning. Okay, HR analytics aid in, of course, forecasting workforce needs. So, for example, if you, okay, let me finish. Workforce need, ensuring that the organization has the right talent within the right skills or with the right skills at the right time. Okay, HR analytics help us to analyze and plan the workforce. Okay, we can look at things around staff distribution by age, by position. We know how many people are in senior management, how many people are in middle management, how many people are in entry management, who are the people that are, who are the staff that are close to retirement age, right? How do we refill? How do we do succession planning? What factors are contributing to employee attrition or employee turnover, as well as linking this back to talent management, all right? How do we analyze or how do we do workforce planning, right? HR analytics help us in this regard, all right? Because if you don't analyze, or they say what you don't measure, what you don't track, you can't improve, okay? So analyzing our workforce and, of course, knowing what data is critical is very, very important, okay? Employee engagement, all right? HR analytics can measure and, of course, improve employee engagement, leading to strategic decisions that positively impact the work environment. Employee engagement is very, very key. It's one of the roles of HR analytics in strategic decision making, when you need to make data decision making about employee engagement. Okay, how much does a gym subscription, how much impact does it have on the productivity of employees, or how much is paying for gym subscription, or even giving work days off? All right, how much impact does this have? I'll tell you the story of some will I say fan companies. There was a study or there was a research that was made around, of course, is heavily backed by data, where employees are given unlimited pay time off. Okay, so which means that they this was tried, of course, with a small sample of people before it was expanded to a larger sample, where on average, all right, employees that are given, unlimited pay time off as a peg, that is now correlated with their performance on the job. And they find out that at the end of the day, these employees eventually only took 2% or 3% more leave days or more pay time off than employees who have, of course, their pay time off capped. All right. So what does this experiment, what does what were they able to get from that is that they were able to analyze, okay? And this, of course, is something that worked fine. I'm not saying it's going to work in your company, of course, unless you use your data and you're able to answer that question yourself. However, the point I'm trying to make is before making any decision, all right, as regards employee engagement, all right, what impact, all right, is this going to have on productivity or on the workforce? So HR analytics help us answer this question. The fourth one is cost optimization. Okay, HR analytics can identify cost-effective HR solutions, contributing to cost optimization strategies within the company. I think we already mentioned this in detail, so I'm not going to spend much time here. Now, let's look at some of the business impacts of HR analytics. Number one, it helps or it improves decision making within the organization. Okay, HR analytics provides data-driven insights, all right, for informed decision making. Now, with HR analytics, you get predictive capability. So, like I said, you are not just analyzing data in hindsight, you're also able to predict, all right, and also plan, all right, for future resource allocation. You're able to plan for optimization, and also you're able to enable HR professionals to predict workforce needs, and you're able to now optimize investment in high impact programs. So when you measure, when you embark on a project and then you track from the beginning to the end, you're able to measure the impact, the exact impact. What does providing free lunch, all right, to your employees, how does it impact the overall, how does it improve productivity? Okay, there was another research by a fan company, I think it was either Netflix, where free lunch, or so there's of course breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and there was careful analytics that went into why should we provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner to our employee. And now with HR analytics, they were able to tie that, all right, to employee productivity, because guess what? After the COVID-19, a lot of people, of course, preferred to, were working from home. So they needed to bring people back into the office, of course, people that wanted to come back to the office. So by providing breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they strategically placed the times of these meals, all right, the breakfast very early, maybe around 7 a.m., the lunch around maybe 2, 3, and then dinner to maybe around 8 or 9 p.m. in the evening. What this means is that for employees to want to get on this lunch, they need to be at the office maybe before 7 a.m., okay? And of course, they have to be working. I mean, by this, at the end of the few months, they were able to measure what impact the employees that took part in these programs, right? What impact did they have on their productivity, all right? And what they found out was employees that came to the office and participated in more of these lunch programs ended up working or putting in more man hours or becoming more productive, all right? Because if you come in, say 7 a.m. and you're able to get breakfast, of course, you stay till lunch. Because dinner is around 8 or 9 p.m. in the evening, you have the tendency, of course, to stay till that time to participate in dinner, all right? And to do that, which means that without you knowing, you're putting in more hours, all right, into your task, all right? So they were able to use that. Of course, they measured what impact this will have on productivity. They were able to use the data, all right? And of course, they were able to tie that data back to the productivity of these employees. So there's no free lunch in Freetown, all right? So if employers are providing lunch, for example, what is the business impact? All right, what is the end goal? All right, and how does it tie back into one of the organization goals that we are measuring? So which means that for each of the HR initiatives that needs to be launched, there needs to be thorough planning, all right, into the data that is going to back how do we measure, how do we quantify the success or failure of a particular initiative? So that's as far as improving decision making is concerned. Also enhancing talent management. I think we discussed this already. So analytics optimize recruitment, employee engagement, skill development, enhance hiring quality, to boost morale, and of course, ensure employees have the necessary skills for organizational objectives. Okay, we mentioned this, so I'm not going to spend time on that. Increase cost savings. So HR analytics can reduce employee turnover. That is something that we are going to spend time to discuss when we get into this. They're able to improve productivity and also streamline HR processes, all right, by identifying or addressing factors affecting performance, reducing costs, and also promoting employee retention. How do we reduce employee turnover? Okay, how do we improve productivity? How do we streamline HR processes? And how do we identify and address factors that are affecting performance? And all of these aimed at, of course, increasing the costs to the business. Of course, we've also mentioned that data gives companies a competitive advantage. Okay, so by utilizing analytics in talent strategy, you are able to enhance employee branding. Of course, you improve employee experience, which gives you an edge over your competitors, and you're able to improve business agility. Okay, you're able to ensure continuous success and resilience in the talent-driven market. Okay, poll number 2. So we have another poll. So the last poll, let's see the results. We had 100% of the people going for employee hobbies expansion. So the business are not in the or businesses are not in the business of expanding employee hobbies. Very interesting. Now, another poll is, one of the following is not a core business impact of HR analytics. All right. Is it improved decision making? Is it strategic coffee break synchronization? All right. Is it increased cost saving or enhanced talent management? Okay. I can see 100% of the votes is going for strategic coffee break synchronization. Why is that not a business impact of HR analytics? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Why is it not? Why is it not? Maybe someone can give a very interesting answer. Okay, so coffee, try that. Okay, all right, no problem. Now, let's get into the types of analytics. Okay, we have identified 4 types of HR analytics, and this is very important. It's very important that we take this down. Again, one thing I forgot to mention is the slides of this presentation are also going to be shared, but again, after the 6th week, all right? So both the slides and the recordings will be shared after the completion of the entire training process, okay? Not before. So if you're looking to get the slide, you may have to wait till the end. Just really digest the content for now. Okay, let's see. What are the types of analytics? All right, there are 4 types or 4 different types of analytics. Number 1, we have descriptive analytics. Okay, we have what we call descriptive analytics. Just a second. So we have what we call descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics is a type of analytics that is answering the question, what happened? Okay, and it's important. Any analytics you want to perform in your organization or on people must fall into one of these four core categories of analytics. All right, and the first one of them is what we call the descriptive analytics. The descriptive analytics is answering the question, what happened? All right. So it is known as a decision analytics, all right, and uses statistical analytics technique to explain or summarize particular sets of historical or raw data. So this is also hindsight analytics. You are looking at the past. What happened to my business? For example, what is the rate of absenteeism over a particular period? That is one of that's the question that descriptive analytics is answering. What is our employee turnover? What is our gender distribution in the organization? What is the age distribution within the organization? All right. What is our diversity and inclusion rates within the organization? All right, within our people or with our people. All of these questions are answering the question. All of this descriptive analytics is answering the question around what happened. Okay, and this type of analytics is the simplest to perform. All right, and it is what most of us, I want to believe, are even conversant with. Okay, this entails splitting maybe your HR data into different demographics. So for example, if we are just looking at HR data or talent data of employees in our organization, so we want to look at total employees. All right, so in our workforce we have 2,000 employees. Okay, now we want to look at what is the gender distribution of this. How many male, how many females? So we say we have 1,000 males and 1,000 females. You are still answering the question, I mean, what happened? Okay, we want to look at what is the age distribution. Okay, we have 20% of our workforce fall between the ages of 15 to 25. We have another 20% that fall between the age of 26 to 40. We have another percentage, let's say 30%, that fall between the ages of 40 to 50. And let's say we have 40% or 45% of the workforce that fall between the ages of 50 to say 65. That tells you that there's a problem, okay? Because you have a significant portion of your employees, all right, close to the age of retirement, okay? And you just be looking at it that, oh, you have 2,000 staff, but you have 40% or 45% of your workforce at an age that is close to retirement. So it means that there's something that needs to be done, okay? That's one example. Let's look at another example. You want to look at employee attrition, for example, or employee turnover. Some of the descriptive analytics questions you want to answer are, what is our employee turnover for so period? Okay. What is the absenteeism rate for so and so period? What is, all of these questions are starting with what? All of these questions are starting with what? Okay. Now, descriptive analytics is, like I said, is what a lot of organizations, or let's say some organizations, are conversant with. But what you get with descriptive analytics is just the tip of the iceberg. You don't really get the real. So you understand that 20% of your workforce left in 2023. So what? That data, and I said, okay, maybe you're able to build a trend. You are seeing a 5% year-on-year increase, all right, in employee turnover, all right? That is answering just one part of the question. If you take this question or if you take this analytics to executive management or management, the next thing anybody is going to ask you is, why? Why are employees leaving? Okay? And that brings us to the next type of analytics, and that is called diagnostic analytics. This diagnostic analysis is set to answer the question, why did it happen? Okay? Diagnostic analytics provides an explanation for what has been revealed through descriptive analytics. So if you answer the question of what happened, the next thing is, why did it happen? If you go to a hospital and say a child fainted, you've understood the descriptive analytics, all right? The next thing is, why did the child faint? All right. Now you are now trying to do the root cause analysis. So diagnostic analytics is also called root cause analytics, which is you want to understand, why did employee turnover increase? Okay. Why are we having increased employee attrition rates? Why did absenteeism rates decrease? All right, you put up different theories and you tend to answer them with data. Again, this is not something you answer. You say, oh, you think, oh, people are jackpotting now, they're traveling abroad. Or, oh, you just come up with different random answers. No, that's not how diagnostic analytics work. There has to be a scientific process into how are we answering this. For example, how do we know, or how do we answer the question, why is employee or why are employee leaving the organization? One of the things that we can use, or one of the methods of diagnostic analytics, is to do exit interviews and surveys, okay? That tend to codify or quantify the responses. I don't mean the type of exit interviews where, or exit surveys, where there's just so many texts and then we cannot quantify. I'm not talking of qualitative. Of course, there is a qualitative part, all right, but is there any quantitative? Can we codify the responses to the people that have left the organization, say in the last 3 years? Can we codify their responses? Can we understand some demography around the people that are leaving? Do they fall between a particular age bracket? Are they working within a particular team? Does it happen to be with the manager that they work for? For example, a very interesting theory is, if you work in maybe IT or in tech, or you happen to have IT or tech people in your organization in the last few years, one of the trends you would see is that more IT people are leaving, especially around 2020, 2021, 2022. Maybe it's going to stabilize from 2023 or 2024. That's a data or a number from what most companies have reported. You find out that IT companies or IT members or tech staff are leaving. The question you want to ask yourself is, why are they leaving? A lot of people just throw their hands up and say, oh, they are going for more money, or they are jackpotting, they're traveling abroad. But is there any quantitative analytics to support this theory? Did we do exit interviews or exit surveys for this? Is there a time series analysis that explains, is there a particular period, a particular year that employees are leaving, or within a particular period? I'll give you a very typical example. I used to work as a data analyst for one of the leading security firms or physical security firms in the country. Okay, now we ran the numbers and we discovered that around during the festive period, December, there's a lot of I would call it, there's a particular word we call it. I can't remember right now. We call it short manning, all right? That's the name or we call it beat abandonment, okay? Around this area, around this time, we run the numbers and see that year on year, there is an increase in the number of guards that are abandoning their duty posts, okay, around the festive period, around in December, all right? December majorly, okay? There's an increase. There's always a spike in December on people, on the number of guards that abandon their posts or their duty posts. That's descriptive analytics. That in itself answers just a fraction of the question. The next thing is, why are they leaving? Okay, so we said to ask, all right, surveys, interviews, tend to take sample, pick a very particular small sample, and then we found out that guards are abandoning their duty at this period because they are traveling for the festivities, all right? They are traveling to their village. A lot of them are maybe unskilled, or they just want to spend their time with their family. And this is a very critical time for us as for the security company, because you need, this is a period where businesses are shutting down, and of course, you need guards to be on duty, okay? And of course, these guards are paid by the number of days they work. So they just feel like they leave once it's 15th or 20th, and then they come back in January, all right? Maybe on the 5th or on the 6th, all right, to work, okay? So diagnostic analysis were able to find out that the reason why employees are leaving at this particular period was because they were traveling for festivities, all right? They wanted to spend more time with their family and so on and so forth, okay? Now, once you've done descriptive analytics, you've done diagnostic analytics, the next thing is, will this trend continue, all right? Or what might happen? What is going to happen in future? You want to do what is now called predictive analytics, all right? Which is to understand this process, or the predictive analysis process involves categorizing past and present data to spot patterns and correlation, and of course irregularities, and of course to predict whether this occurrence will continue. Employees are leaving. We already know that there's a 55% rise year on year, or month on month, or quarter on quarter in employee attrition. We've been able to understand why they are leaving through maybe surveys. I mentioned time series analysis. Is there a particular time or a trend? Is there a pattern to when we are recording employee attrition? I also mentioned demography. Is there a particular demography of people that are leaving the organization? Are they more in the IT tech? Are they more unskilled workers? Are they more within a certain age bracket? Are there more entry-level people resigning, or mid-level or senior level? Demographic analysis, all right? Is there a correlation? Have we done what we call performance and promotion? Have we looked at the performance and promotion data, okay? Is there a correlation between lack of career advancement and attrition? Is there a correlation between people not getting promotion? Can we look at the data of people that have left? Look at the promotion history, and all other factors or variables that can contribute to leaving, because you may not be able to bring the people that have left back, but don't forget that you still have a workforce, all right? And if you've run the numbers and you see that more year on year, month on month, this number is increasing, you know why they're leaving. The next thing is, you want to understand, can we predict which employee at a higher risk of leaving the organization based on what we have identified, that the people that are leaving are within this particular demography, or this is their reason, or it happens to be with the manager they're working with, or it happens to be the kind of profession or occupation. Is it hazardous? Is it a highly sought after or in-demand skill that is causing employees to leave. Okay, now we want to now know, will this trend continue? We want to predict it. If this trend will continue for our present staff, and that's where predictive analytics comes in. Okay, predictive analytics uses some algorithms to understand based on inputs, all right, based on input data to predict if this is going to continue. And some of the predictive actions or analytics techniques that can be carried out here are what we call the predictive modeling, all right, which is the use of some algorithms based that is going to be trained on the past data and the current data to know if the trend is going to continue. There's also feature selection to know, is there a particular feature, is there a particular input variable to what is causing this, and will this trend influence more people to leave? There's the behavioral analytics to understand, is there a particular behavior that is associated with people leaving, and do we spot traits from the current staff we have or from the current workforce? Do these people have these kinds of traits? Okay, let's say, for example, we notice that 5 days or let's say 1 month or 2 months to when employee drop their resignation letter, their performance drops, or they stop responding to emails, okay, or anything, any behavior that is associated with employees that leave, because we will not be able to spot this unless, of course, we analyze the data. Now we've analyzed this data, we've seen that there's a particular behavior that is associated with people leaving. Their performance drops. Maybe we look at 2-3 behavior that, of course, are in tandem. Okay, their performance drops. Maybe they start coming late to work. Remember the late coming analytics we talked about earlier. They start coming late to work. They don't reply to emails early on time, and so on and so forth. Or they start missing off days for people that work physically, which may indicate that, okay, maybe they are going for interviews or something like that. But we need to quantify and make it quantitative, all right? Not just based on assumption or gut feeling, okay? Now, we've identified that these traits that cause these people to leave, can we identify these traits in the current workforce that we have? This may be difficult to spot for the I wanted to say to the naked eyes, but that's not what I mean. This may be difficult to spot to humans, okay? But with some algorithms, some machine learning algorithms, you can start to pitch patterns based on performance evaluation or employee engagement survey and so on and so forth. We can pass the excuse me. We can pass the output of some of these surveys into this model. So we used to train a model, and then at the end of the day, we're able to come out to say, these are the strongest factors that are causing people to leave. Number one, their managers. Number two, the work hours that they are subjected to. Number three, the employee compensation. Number four. So we're able to know 4 critical factors that are causing people to leave. And we're able to predict that if we pass in employee with employee ID 001, he has 3 of these 4 traits that are causing employees to leave. Okay, we have 3 or 4 traits that are causing, so we're able to act on this quickly. And these predictive models can give us this answer. Going back to the security analysis I made the other time. So after finding out that these are the reasons why employees are leaving, we're able to run these models and predict, okay, which employee or which guard is going to abandon his duty post this year again. So the year is the festive period is coming, the later part of Q4, which employees are going to abandon their duty post. We're able to run this number and predict, right, to a fair level of accuracy that so number of employees are going to abandon their duty post, right? Now, what do we do about it? Okay, now before I proceed, if you look at descriptive and diagnostic analysis, you see that both of them are looking in hindsight. They are looking behind at what has happened. Descriptive is answering the question, what happened? Diagnostic is answering the question, why did it happen? Both of them are looking back. Okay. Predictive analytics, on the other hand, is looking forward, what is going to happen, as well as the next one. So what is the point of knowing what happened, knowing why it happened, and knowing that it will continue if you can't do anything, if you're helpless? And this is where the last type of analytics comes in, which is the what? The prescriptive analytics. Okay? Prescriptive analytics is looking at what actions or set of actions should be taken, all right, to either improve a trend or to reduce a trend. What action should you take to impact what is obvious or what is evident is going to happen? So prescriptive analytics targets recommendations. These are recommendation systems, right? For decision options and actions based on the findings of predictive analytics. Okay, it offers options for where and how to act to achieve success. Okay, I see somebody's hands is up. You may want to type your question in the chat, and then we're going to get into all questions in a few moments. So if you have questions on what we've covered so far, you may drop them, and then we'll take them shortly once we get there. Okay, prescriptive analytics is looking at what actions or set of actions can we what actions or set of actions can we take, all right, to prevent employees from leaving? Okay, this is where predictive analysis, what specific action can be taken, for example, to reduce or to increase, to reduce employee turnover or to reduce employee attrition. Okay, this requires some A/B testing, where you put forward some, from the outcome of your predictive analysis, you've been able to see that a person's manager maybe has a high significance into whether it's going to leave the organization or not. Okay. Do you want to consider as a prescriptive analytics techniques is, do we want to take a sample size, all right, and say break this team or appoint an interim manager? Okay, maybe that's too extreme. Let me look for another example. Let's say you find out that a very weird one, that the food that employees eat, all right, the lunch that they are being served has something to do with whether they are going to leave the organization or not. I mean, that's a very weird example, but I'm going to use it anyways. So your predictive analytics is going to tell you that all the people that left your organization, they filled a survey that says anytime they eat beans or whatever is being served, this particular food that is being served at lunch, they just ate it and they want to leave this organization. Let's say, for example, okay. So we've seen traits of employees that have this. So we want to split these types of employee that have these traits. We want to split them into two. Let's say A/B, let's call it A/B testing. Okay. Now, the group, of course, we are not going to tell them that we're performing an experiment, and we're not going to tell them the reason why. It may even be random. Okay, we're going to select. So we see that 20 employees this year, 2024, based on our algorithm, based on prediction, these 20 employees are going to leave. So we split them into two random groups of 10, right? So this particular employee, we change their meal pattern. We give them different types of meals, and so on and so forth, all right? And then this group, this second group, we leave them as they are. Don't do anything. And we get to see, let's test, at the end of the FY 2024, which of these employees from A will leave and which of the employees from B will leave. At the end of the year, we're able to collect the data and we can see from the action that we have taken, does changing the meal plan. So a question I put forward before this experiment will be, will changing the meal plan of employees reduce or influence them from not leaving the organization? That's the question. Okay, so we change the meal plan for group A and leave group B. We use one as the control and the other one as the test. Okay, at the end of the year, we're able to see by what margin or by what percentage are we able to, let's say at the end of the year, we only see that from group A that we change our meal pattern, let's say 2 or 3 of them resign. And then from group B that we didn't do anything, let's say 5 eventually resign or leave. We also ask them, of course, don't forget the exit interviews, because we need to still keep feeding back the data, okay, to make our recommendations stronger. Is there any reason? Let's say, for example, they still repeat the same thing, the meal pattern, okay? So we're able to conclude at the end of that exercise, or at the end of the experiment, that changing the meal plan of employees is going to have a significant effect in them leaving the organization. That is prescriptive analytics in a nutshell, without going into any fancy algorithm, without talking about anything fancy, okay? That is simply it. We set some set of action, because we don't know the future, we don't know what will happen, but we've predicted that this is likely going to happen. What can we take? Let me give you some examples of companies that are using prescriptive analytics today, and they are seeing a lot of reward. Netflix is a very particular example. A lot of e-commerce companies as well. If you go to e-commerce companies right now, if you click to buy, say, item A, item B, item C, immediately their recommendation system will look at your data, understand a pattern, and will start giving you suggestions on, oh, people who buy this also buy this. I don't know if you have seen it. If you have seen that kind of recommendation, please give a thumbs up, okay? If you have seen the kind of, so people who buy this type of, so you're buying, you buy maybe a makeup box, you buy a wig, for example, you buy this, the recommendation system, that's prescriptive analytics at play, is able to tell, use your data and correlate it with other people that have done the same thing as you, okay? They're able to know that this person is buying maybe household items. People who bought these items also buy, and they're able to see that that action alone increased significantly the number of things that people bought. In fact, there was a survey of some Amazon buyers that about 40 to 45% of people end up buying what they didn't plan they were going to buy before logging onto a website. So I'm going to this website to buy maybe this book, all right? Based on the recommendations alone, I'm buying some other book that I didn't end up buying, maybe in addition to what I'm buying, right? So all of these analysis, we can also use them on people data. They're not just for those scenarios alone, okay? People who have these behavioral traits are likely to leave the organization. What can we do as incentive to change the outcome, all right, of the people that are still in the organization, okay? Netflix also, they will tell you people who watch this movie also watch this movie, okay? Or let me say predictive analytics in Netflix recommendation is telling you that predictive analytics is if you watch maybe you watch anime movies a lot, or maybe your genre of movies is sci-fi. They start recommending, they predict that, oh, this kind of person is, of course, is going to love this kind of movie, and they start prescriptive analysis, start recommending those types of movies to you, and they're able to increase significant. Imagine if you go on YouTube or you go on it and there's no recommender systems, and you click on the first video about, maybe you are watching about ice cream, how to make ice cream, and so on and so forth. And the next video you are seeing is about maybe the war in Ukraine and Russia. And the next video up to that is Baby Shark. And the next video, I mean, there's no correlation. At the end of the day, you're not going to spend much hours. But with all of this recommendation, you find out that you only get on YouTube to watch one video. But before you know it, you've watched 5, you've watched 6, you've watched 7, because the recommender system and the algorithm keep pushing this to you. All of these analytics techniques, this is predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics in action. And we can use it absolutely in HR data. This is where we're going to round off today. Let's quickly talk about data analytics tools. But before we go, let's do another poll. Okay, so now, based on the last conversation we've had, okay, which of the following types of analytics answer the question, why did it happen? Which is a type of analytics that answer the question, why did it happen? Is it prescriptive? Is it predictive analytics? Is it prescriptive analytics? Is it descriptive analytics? Or is it diagnostic analytics? Which of the type of analytics answer the question, why did it happen? I'm seeing very, very interesting answers here. People are saying it's predictive analytics. Some people are saying it's descriptive analytics. Others are saying it's diagnostic analytics. Okay, looks like we have a large percentage of people going for diagnostic analytics, and that actually is the right answer. Okay, that is the right answer. Diagnostic analytics is answering the question. We're diagnosing why did it happen. Let's quickly go back and do a quick review. Descriptive is what happened. Diagnostic is why did it happen. Predictive is what might happen or what will happen. And prescriptive is what action should be done or what should we do. Let's quickly look at the tools that are used for data analytics, and then we'll round off today's class. Now, there are a different number of tools that you can use for data analytics or HR analytics. We have them in two categories, okay? We have what we call the low-code and the no-code tools that has graphical user interface. The number one of them is Microsoft Excel. Please don't let anybody lie to you. Microsoft Excel is one of the leading software today that you can use for data analytics. Okay, depends on the complexity of the problem you're trying to solve. Microsoft Excel is actually very, very capable of solving a wide range. In fact, 60 to 70% of the analytics that you're trying to perform in on people analytics. A lot of people, when we say Excel is actually a very robust analytics tool, they think about it that is it not the same Excel that we add rows and columns of data and so on. But I'm happy to tell you that there's a lot more to Excel than it is right now. Do you know that you can actually, as of today, write Python scripts within Excel itself? Without leaving the Excel environment, you can write Python code in Excel. All right. How many of us know that? Just drop a yes in the chat. If you know that, or if you don't know, if you know or you know, drop a yes or a no in the chat. Okay. Do you know that you can write Python, right, within Excel? Okay. A lot of people said no. Okay. Do you know that the almighty AI that people are talking about, ChatGPT and so on and so forth, do you know that you can feed in data, your Excel data? You don't have to do anything. You're just going to tell AI that is embedded. It is called Copilot, all right, within Excel. Do you know that you can ask Copilot to analyze a particular data for you? And it's going to analyze the entire data set, summarize it, and even build dashboard for you without doing anything within Excel. Some of these we are going to explore, okay? So when we talk about Excel as a data analysis, people will be like, this same Excel that we use every day. Well, Excel pass Excel, all right? And then we're going to be talking about this in the next few classes, all right? Do you know that with Excel, you can connect to virtually over 140 different data sources without leaving the Excel itself? You can connect to your HIRS, you can connect to your database, you can connect to maybe Google Spreadsheet, you can connect to PDF files, you can connect to over 150 different data sources, pulling the data, right? I'm not talking of going to that software, copying the data and pasting it in Excel. I'm talking of within Excel itself, you can connect to all of these data sources, pull in the data into Excel, analyze that data within Excel itself. All of that you can do. And we'll touch on some of this as we go ahead. There's AI now embedded in Copilot, all right? You can ask questions using natural language. You put in data in Excel, and then you open a chatbot. Who is the highest paid employee in the finance department? And Excel will give it out for you. Or you can ask, can you list the top 10 highest paid employee in a bar chart? And Excel will do it for you. Can you build a dashboard to capture employee demography? Please spotlight age distribution, gender distribution, departmental distribution, and put it in a dashboard with a red theme. And guess what? Excel will do it for you, okay? However, there's a caveat. It's not just simple. You need to be on the latest version of Excel, and you need to be on the paid version of Excel, which is Office 365. So if you're an organization here that you have not harnessed or you have not really utilized the power of the Microsoft 365 within your organization, you need to schedule a call with Reliance, okay? You need to drop on the chat right now if you are interested, all right? And then we'll reach out to you and we can have a session with you on how you can onboard Microsoft 365 within your environment, okay, or within your company. Or you even have Microsoft 365 and you're not using it to the full capabilities. Reliance Infosystems can help you with that, okay? And we can have a session with you to talk about all of these capabilities with you. There's also Power BI. Power BI is a business intelligence tool also by Microsoft that allows you to do to extract insight from data using graphical low-code, no-code interfaces. One of the things that are remarkable about, or few things that people see from Power BI, is the ability for you to build highly interactive, visual aesthetic dashboards that are able to communicate insights to your business stakeholders. All right, we can use Power BI to analyze HR data as well. And throughout this course, we are only going to be focusing on Excel and Power BI. Okay, another tool is also Tableau. It's also a business intelligence tool that also works similar to Power BI, but this is an open secret. Power BI is better. Okay. Okay, those are low-code, no-code tools. Let's talk about some other tools that you need to use programmatic language, or you need to interface with them using writing programs. So you have SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. If you have relational databases in your organization and you have HR data stored in there, or you have your HIRS and you're backing up or you're pulling your data into SQL, if you need to analyze HR data, you need to, of course, know how to use the structured query language to interface or to interact with your databases. So whether that database is MySQL, Postgres, SQL Server, and so on and so forth. If you want to now perform some advanced analytics, like some of the models I talked about the other time, the predictive model, the prescriptive, you want to train an algorithm, you want to do a whole number of things. This is where you now need to get into Python and R, okay? These are tools that allows you to extract meaning from data using the programmatic writing programs, okay? But there's no reason to be worried. In the last 2 hours or so, I've broken down some of the core HR concepts. So be rest assured when I tell you that when we get into some of these things as well, it's going to be easy like cake, all right? It's a easy peasy lemon squeezy, okay? So with that, we have come to the end of our session today, okay? If you enjoyed this session, please, I don't know. I mean, let's do a clap, please, for Reliance Infosystems and then for me, all right? In the next class, all right, we're going to be diving straight into metrics that matter. What are some of the core HR metrics that organizations need to focus on? So be sure to not miss the next class, all right? We're going to be diving into different HR metrics, when they are applicable, when you should use them, okay? And of course, some of the metrics under this category, okay? I'm not going to give you a sneak peek. I'll wait for you in the next session. Again, the next class is going to happen same time, 11 a.m. West African time, Wednesday next week. If you have the link already, that's good. You're also going to be getting communication from us. So you're free to block your calendar for the next 6 weeks, and then be sure to not miss it. Remember, this is a certificate course, and for you to qualify for a certificate, you must meet 65% attendance. You must attend minimum 4 out of 6 of this class. Otherwise, to avoid stories that touch, okay? We are just 2 minutes from the time, and I don't want us to overstep. So if anybody has any question that they want to drop in the chat, I can quickly take it. 1 or 2 questions that we can take before we round up. We're going to be very conscious of time, and we will not overstep our time. While we're waiting for questions, I've said, while we're waiting for questions, I've said that in the next few sessions, we're going to be dropping forms to capture interest, just in case you want to speak to Reliance. You don't want to ask your question in the open group, right? You have organization-specific needs that you need our experts to speak to you about, whether in data, in cybersecurity, in infrastructure, or in Microsoft 365 in modern work. We will have links to schedule sessions with you. And of course, we can do that. Looks like there is no question. Okay, so I'm saying, looks like there are no questions. Please be free. Yeah, the consultation sessions are free. You're not paying for these sessions. The only thing to qualify is that you have to be an organization for you to be a part of this. Please follow us on our social media handles. There is a link to follow us on Modiva, on LinkedIn. Follow Reliance Infosystems. We are going to be dropping teasers or some teasers from these sessions, all right, on our social media handles. And also communication as to when the recording and the slides are going to be available are going to be on our social media. So if you are not following us on social media, you may miss some of these things. So my colleagues have dropped the links to our social media handles, which is Reliance Infosystems and Modiva. Be sure to follow those handles for updates regarding this. Okay, there are no questions. Again, to buttress, So Jennifer, I see how do we book the one session that will be available from next class. However, we'll reach out to you after this call. That will be available. The links to book these sessions will be available from the next class. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been an amazing conversation. You don't need to worry about how we take attendance, Mr. Joshua. We've taken it. Remember, data. We've captured your data, so don't worry about that, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, till we meet with you next week, thank you very much and have a pleasant day ahead.